Welcome to a glorious day here by the Black Sea. We're at the Sochi Autodrom for what could be a really exciting Grand Prix weekend. The final alterations are being made in the garages as the teams prepare to send their cars out for the first time. Now then, Anthony Davidson, there's been a lot of talk over the last few weeks about track limits. How much is too much when you're cutting corners and running wide? What are your thoughts on this? And do you think we'll be seeing drivers pushing those limits this weekend?
Well, I'd be disappointed if we didn't, frankly. If race control want to clamp down on drivers wandering off the track, then it's up to them to police it. As a driver, you're being paid to get your car around the circuit as quickly as possible, don't forget. So if you're not pushing those limits, if you're ignoring the advantageous line, then you're not doing your job properly. Now, I agree that, we have these white lines there for a reason, and we do want to see those limits enforced, but for me, it's not a driver's responsibility to do that.
What's up, YouTube land? Xano Gaming back with episode number 35 of my F1 2019 career mode. Here today we're at the Russian Grand Prix after coming off 4th place in Singapore, which was a good result, but yeah, should have been a podium. Unfortunately threw it away in the last couple of laps. But anyway, we'll move forward now onto Russia, one of the most boring tracks on the Formula 1 calendar, but it is one that we look forward to in the dry conditions. A bit of development race. We've actually slipped back a little bit this week compared to other midfield cars, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, really looking forward to see what our pace will be like this weekend. Should be quite good. So anyway, now we'll move into qualifying. This is Q1 and this is the first run, as now we come through the last few corners. And first lap in qualifying, we do a 1 minute 31.2, and this is just the end of the session here now. And looking at the times, we're sitting in 11th place, and I was looking at the times and I thought, oh yeah, we're quite a bit ahead, and I will try and save a set of tyres. So that's what we do, we save a set of tyres here in the end of Q1, and we leave it pretty close, but we do get through to Q2 by 4/10 at the end of the day, so they weren't close, but 15th place. But Albon in 16th place, good result for him in the Renault. Hulkenberg, magnificent. Giovinazzi, really disappointing to see him only 19th place on the grid, and Romain Grosjean last place, so it's a bit disappointing for Giovinazzi. But we'll now move to Q2. This is our first run in Q2, and we've got Max Verstappen following us, but he's actually caught up quite a bit on this lap as we come, and this was a very scruffy first lap, and we do only a 31.4 as Verstappen is in the 1 minute 30s. But now end of Q2, and this is our second run, and we are improving quite significantly as we now come across the line for a 31.7. So sorry, I went at 30.7, not 31.7. I went at 30.7, and we move. That's actually put us 4th place here with Perez looking very strong. Obviously the Red Bulls are going to be quite quick as well. So 4th place, that gives me quite a bit of confidence going into Q3. So yeah, out in this qualifying session is Devon Butler, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, the 3 Brits, Liner Stern, Lando Norris, and Valtteri Bottas. So you can see that we're quite a bit quicker than our teammate here this weekend once again in Russia, as this is the first run in now Q3 as we come across the line for a 1 minute 30.9. So good opening lap, a little bit slower than our Q2 time, but now we'll show you that our last lap in qualifying in full, as that was a decent first run that put us in 5th place. So we'll see how we go on this run. Verstappen once again on pole position as we come now into turn 1, looking for the 100-meter board, back down to 3rd gear using all the track available, and got through there neatly. And now this long sweeping left-hander of turn 4 into turn 5, right in a tricky corner, using a lot of curb there on the inside. Now coming into turn 6, braking, using all the track we can to open the track as much as we can. Sometimes I'm in 3rd, that time around I was in 4th gear. Back to 5th for this fast long section, using all the track available and using it quite well here. Been a really neat and tidy lap so far. Now braking for the 100-meter board onto this back straight and getting onto the power as early as you dare. and now open the DRS with the run down the back straight. Awkward braking point coming up as we're going to swing to the left, and then got to brake and hit that back down the third gear. Got to hit that apex nicely. Got to be smooth on the throttle here. The back end wants to step away from you. Now it's annoying little tricky chicane here at the end of the lap as Verstappen once again lowers his time, but we're having a great lap here coming into the last corner. Miss a little bit slow into that second last corner, a little bit wide through the last corner as well. It shouldn't cost us too much time as we come across the line to go third fastest here in qualifying. So we're going to be third on the grid here in Russia. A great last lap.
Qualifying complete. Let's review our top three today. Verstappen, Gasly, and the captain. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So yeah, obviously a few tenths off the Red Bulls, but good enough to be third place, so we'll get into the race.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. It's full throttle for around 56% of the lap here at the Sochi Autodrom, a 3.6-mile run around the site of the 2014 Winter Olympics. 12 right turns and 6 left turns give us a total count of 18, with passing opportunities available into turns 1 and 13. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's have a chat about Williams. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. The captain lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Weber, Vettel, Charles Leclerc and Kvyat, Raikkonen, Butler, Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo, Hamilton, Gasly, Lando Norris and Stroll, Albon, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi and Roman Grosjean. Bottas and Nico Hülkenberg completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, remember to protect the inside on the run down to turn 1. Make yourself as wide as possible, robust but fair.
So welcome everybody here today to the Russian Grand Prix, and would you believe it or not, that both the Red Bulls are taking grid penalties. And we have moved into pole position here for this Grand Prix, and that really excites me for this Grand Prix to be on pole. I was actually looking forward to starting third, with having a good slipstream potentially down the turn 1, as Jeff interrupts us. But you know, having a slipstream down to turn 1 would be really critical. But and we're not going to have that. We're going to be the ones giving the tow, but a great start is important here as the revs arrives here in Russia for the Russian Grand Prix. It's go here in Russia. A little bit of wheel spin on our start as now we come through turn 1 and Sergio Perez has taken the lead. We jump immediately into his slipstream. We're now gaining. We're going to go down the inside of Sergio Perez into turn 1. So we're going to lock up a little bit. No, we don't lock up actually, but we get a good move on Perez into 1. But he gets a fantastic exit. And as we now sweep through turn 4, he retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. So we're going to slot into second place here. We're going to have a little look. No, not close enough. Almost hitting the back of him there. As now Sebastian Vettel has moved into third place, overtaking Weber at the start as well. So Perez leads as we run a little bit of wide. So Williams is very quick out of turn 2, so maybe something to work on there. Not sure how he had such a great advantage in power. But anyway, we now sweep round onto the back straight for the first time. So Sergio Perez leading the Grand Prix. We go a little bit wide, so no way through. We're now defending behind from Vettel, who's got a little bit of a great run in the slipstream, but he's not going to be close enough heading into the chicane. So we hold on to P2 for now and we're going to settle into a rhythm and just stick with Sergio Perez, sticking his DRS. He's going to be quick. He was quick really throughout the whole of qualifying, and he's been very quick in that Williams car all season, as he's 7th in the championship currently. So, yeah, anyway, we are 8th in the championship, so it's going to be a battle between us today. The Red Bulls starting a bit further back. You know, they're going to be looking to make their way through as we now move here to lap 5 in this Grand Prix. And this is the first time we've had DRS in this race, as Perez got it over a second after the first few laps, and we didn't get into it within that 1 second till now. So he hasn't been able to skip away from us, but now the DRS, this is an important time in this Grand Prix with DRS being involved. And as we now move to lap 7, and this is really the closest we get coming down to turn 1. So that's, turn 2 actually, de facto turn 1 though. As we now move to lap 10, and once again we still just haven't gotten close enough to challenge Perez so far in this Grand Prix, as Weber has also gotten past Vettel for 4th place. There is just over 1.5 seconds behind, a couple of seconds behind. But yeah, once again, just not getting close enough to Perez into the brake zone. And I was thinking of getting an undercut here on this lap on Sergio Perez. It's lap 10. My strategy was to come in lap 11, so I thought if he comes in next lap, hopefully this lap we can get an undercut. So I was planning to come into the pits, and then I see him blend off, so I decided to do the opposite and stay out, and now we're going to push like mad. We've got all the ERS available, so we're going to just push like mad this lap to hopefully do the overcut. It's going to be very tricky with him on the fresh tyres, and the tyres still felt okay, but on that push lap coming around, I felt the grip was going, and it was not a very good lap. And we come into the pits now, and Weber, I must say, gains a huge amount of time on pit entry there, so not sure how he did that. But anyway, yeah, wasn't a great lap on the soft tyres. They were well and truly finished. So we come into the pits now. The overcut probably hasn't worked. You can see Perez is coming into the second to last corner now, as we now chuck on a new set of soft tyres, medium tyres, sorry, as Weber's right behind us in the pit lane. So we exit the pit lane, and there goes Hulkenberg, there goes Sergio Perez. He retakes the effective lead of the Grand Prix. We're actually going to slot in behind Romain Grosjean, which is not ideal, because we do need a clear track, and he's going to be very slow in his Renault on old tyres. So we now come to the middle sector. We're stuck behind Grosjean, but we're going to get past him easily, and slipstream bit of DRS, and we move past Romain Grosjean for P12 in this Grand Prix, but doesn't matter. So Perez has just overtaken Hulkenberg, who's got issues with his car. But critically there, Lucas Weber was not able to get past Nico Hulkenberg, so we're now pulling a bit of a gap on Weber, who's now stuck behind Romain Grosjean, as Hulkenberg is going to come into the pits anyway, so we're not going to get held up through the last 2 corners. As Giovinazzi comes into the pits, but he's a non-factor today with where he started. As we now have Hamilton leading this Grand Prix, as we move into 4th place. Actually, maybe Hamilton's not leading the Grand Prix. As Max Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So that shows you where he is on track compared to us. As now we are moving towards the back of Sergio Perez. We're on a really quick lap this lap. Hamilton blends into pit lane, so does the McLaren that is ahead. Not sure which one that is. I guess we'll find out in a second. As we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, it was Lando Norris, as he gives up the lead of the race. We now have a slipstream on Perez. Verstappen beats our fastest lap, unfortunately. But we've got a great run here on Sergio Perez. We're gaining all the time into turn 1, and we're going to outbrake ourselves a little bit, but we get the job done. We're a little bit wide, and Perez is going to come around the outside this time through turn 3, but we've got the inside line through turn 4, actually, I should say. And now we hold the lead of the Grand Prix for the first time here on lap 14, but now coming to the back straight, here comes Sergio Perez with the slipstream and DRS himself, and he's going to go to the outside, and he gets the job done there. So we're going to slot him behind the Mexican driver, and maybe we can retake him into turn 1. Here we come now, lap 15, and yes, we are going to retake him into turn 1. We're going to go to the outside this time, be on the clean line for braking, and we sweep around the outside in turn 2, and take the lead. I'm going to keep getting that mixed up. As we now here on lap 16, and Perez this time doesn't get past us on the back straight. As now Max Verstappen is out of the Grand Prix, so this is big news as we come through to take the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. back from Verstappen. So Verstappen, who had gotten himself up to 4th place, is now out of this Grand Prix, and I do believe he would have gotten pretty close to me and Perez, but he won't have that chance here today as Perez retakes the lead here on lap 18, and it's just a bit of a DRS game between us two at the minute. It's a great battle. Neither of us can skip away and get a lead out front, so we're going to pretty much just re-pass him down to turn 1. So Lucas Weber about 5 seconds behind. We're not really holding each other up here, Perez and us, so we are actually pulling a gap on Weber, who has quite a comfortable 3rd place over Sebastian Vettel in 4th. With Gasly in 5th, he wasn't able to make the same amount of progress as his teammate, as Perez actually takes the fastest lap away from us here on lap 19, as we now re-slip him down to turn 1. And look at that, 340 kilometers down the straight, and we retake the lead of the Russian Grand Prix. Unbelievable battle out front between us and Perez, as we now move on to lap 25. Perez actually he's kind of just sat behind us for the last 5-6 laps, and now on lap 25 he makes his move here. Perez going to the outside, down the back straight into turn 12, and we lock up the front right tyre, and Perez takes the lead of the Grand Prix with about 2 laps remaining now, as we'll come across the start-finish line, but we're going to stick right behind him. We're going to be right in his DRS for the run to turn 1. We will repass him, hopefully, on this lap, and we are not going to give this a race up without a fight, as Perez comes through, and he actually sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but we're not worried about that. We're worried about taking the lead as we come through turn 1, and we're so close to DRS, so powerful here down the main straight. Easily overtake Perez before the brake zone this time, as we now come across the line. He doesn't pass us that lap. We start the last lap of the Grand Prix. We're going to need everything we have on this last lap. We haven't got much battery left. We haven't got much fuel left. Even though fuel isn't an issue for us, we're really on the edge of limit with tyre grip. The tyres actually do feel good. Still, they're not giving up just yet, but we're on the limit. And Weber, you can see, is no factor. It's a straight fight between us and Perez here on this last lap. Lock up a little bit through turn 5. That's not going to help us as we now come into turn 6. And this is where we have to be at our best to get away from Perez. Probably didn't maximise this corner though, turn 6. So now coming through 7 and 8, Perez is going to be all over us. And just using as much curb as we can, as much track as we can, to try and build up the gap so Perez doesn't slingshot back past down this back straight. We know he's going to have the run. So here we go. This is the moment. Sergio Perez in the slipstream. He opens the DRS. He's going to move to the left. We're going to defend to the inside. He gets past us easily. We're not going to give this up. We're going to brake as late as we dare. We're going to lock up. We've gone into the side of Perez. A lot of contact. We're going to sweep around the outside. This is very close. Perez is on the inside. We're side by side coming into the chicane. We outbrake ourselves a little bit, but now we've got the inside for the right-hander, and we retake the Grand Prix lead. What a battle between us and Sergio Perez as we now come through the final 2 turns, and we're going to hold on here in Russia to take our first career Grand Prix victory.
Nice work, that's P1. Race win. Well done.
Wow, so what a battle. We'll go to Crofty for the results.
A commanding performance from Toro Rosso today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
And look at this, they're coming out now. Toro Rosso have developed something of a reputation for forging exciting talent, and we can see that here. An incredible victory. So, let's review the driver's standings. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Some amazing talents out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, you've put me in a bit of a tight spot today, but I think I'll go for Pierre Gasly. He kept a cool head under pressure and made the most of some difficult circumstances.
Let's move on to the constructors. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. Meanwhile, Toro Rosso's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
So that was the Russian Grand Prix, guys. We take our first career victory in Formula One. It takes us 35 episodes to do it, but we eventually get it done. What a battle with Sergio Perez. I mean, 27 laps of just constant pushing each other. I was absolutely sweating after that Grand Prix. Weber finishes third place, a quiet third place drive for him today. Gasly only can manage fourth place, so with Verstappen retiring, he only takes 12 points out of Verstappen's championship lead, which we will see in a second. So maybe also that last lap battle was unbelievable. I had to do something. I went as late as I did on the brakes. We went and made a lot of contact, but you know, we held our nerve around the outside and we managed to pull off the victory. So a well-earned first victory, and you can see we're 8th in the championship quite convincingly now. We've got a little bit of a gap to Perez, but in the championship, Verstappen still has a 39-point lead, so despite retiring, his championship lead isn't hurt too badly. And anyway, we'll go into the next race in Japan with still a quite comfortable cushion. Our teammate Giovinazzi didn't really do anything today, didn't score points, so as a team we're finally ahead of Racing Point, despite me being ahead of both their drivers in the championship. We finally move ahead of them in the constructors, as now we come for a contract renegotiation, and we're just going to renegotiate the complete terms, the best terms we can possibly get.
All right, the terms have been agreed. All that's left is to sign the paperwork.
There you go.
We'll be on this new deal from the next race weekend.
So good contract there for us. Great objectives in terms of qualifying and race. Just got to finish top 10 in both, and we'll be fine. Coming to some post-race upgrades. Going to upgrade the engine department, so we make sure we get that engine upgrade for the next race. And then I decided to do a aero upgrade with a drag reduction. Also going to be a major update, so that will come for Mexico. The engine upgrade hopefully will come for Japan. Fingers crossed that won't fail. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode in Korea. Smash that like button for plenty more content coming onto the channel. With the F1 2020 game coming out in just about a month's time now. So here's a broader look at the championship standings and all the results. You can see Verstappen's dominance that he's had this year. That's actually his first time this year. He hasn't scored any points. But anyway, leave a like, guys. Subscribe to the channel for plenty more content. And until the next video, goodbye.